Okay, so this is based on a true story, but it's about a girl that went into a coma but could hear everything. So I want to know what's going on, because this sounds crazy. Like, if that's actually possible.
It was that I fell off the tree. I was my mom and dad's only child.
What
we were
tree?
a middle-class family, and we lived in a small house with a stunning backyard, which had an old oak tree that was said to be even older than my grandparents. When my dad first
older
bought
than
the
your
house,
dad,
he
that's
found
the
a
old
treehouse
tree
with oak
too.
tree built by the kids who'd lived in the house before us.
You've
After
already
a lot
got
of
a treehouse
convincing,
in your
my
house.
father
That's
agreed
mad
to
lit.
fix the treehouse. He even made
I
a
actually
wooden
had one
ladder
of these
so I
in
could
my
climb
houses,
into the
but it wasn't
tree.
like a
I remember
normal
helping my dad
treehouse.
decorate
Like,
its
you know how
walls with
tree
posters
houses
and
are like
photos of my favorite
tree
people.
houses.
For a second,
This one
you
was
might
like
be
a
thinking,
house in
what
a
a sweet
tree.
family.
If that
But
makes
no,
sense.
just nothing
Oh wait,
me
no,
or my
your
dad
mom
did
yelled
to
at you?
please her. She would spend
I mean,
the whole night
that's what they're
smoking
meant to
cigarettes
do,
in
I
front of
guess, but I don't
TV
know.
and trying
Smoking
marks so
cigarettes
we could
like
pay the
that's not
bills and
good.
buy us food. And me, well, after I got home from school, there was nothing
So
for
the
me to
dad's
do but
always
go and play
working.
with my dolls
Okay,
in
so
the
you're just like
treehouse.
home
For my
alone all the
13th
time?
birthday, my dad bought me the best gift ever.
No way.
He bought me a little white
You
puppy
got a
that was
dog,
super
yo.
fluffy. I called
I
him
actually have dogs
Snowball.
at home
Perhaps
too,
this
bro.
dog would keep me company so I wouldn't be so alone. I loved Snowball, and I taught him
I
lots
don't
of
know,
tricks.
like dogs
We used
over
to
cats
spend
for
all
sure,
day
but
together
dogs,
in the
mate.
treehouse. We would only go home to eat dinner. That way, we steered clear of my mom's yelling and her long fights with my dad. I watched the sky a lot during my days in the treehouse.
That doesn't sound good.
Back then, my dad only came home after the sun had set, so I'd watch the stars lighting up the sky.
So she's already
They looked
asleep pretty
amazing.
much.
I knew that those stars were
I would
nothing
be
but
in bed by
meteors
that time.
traveling
If it's
fast
that
through the
dark,
sky
I'm
as
not
they
awake
burn.
as a
But
kid.
everything my dad told me about them made them seem magical. One time, I was watching the sky with Snowball, waiting for my dad to return home. When
Oh,
he
so
arrived,
she's
he
waiting
climbed up
for him,
and sat
okay.
beside me. He said, "This falling star is a wish that just came true for someone out there in the world." "A wish?" I said.
Huh?
He explained a long time ago there was a poor man praying to the gods every day. However, the gods were always busy, so they didn't answer him. One day, he screamed so loudly the mountains shook. The gods looked at him and listened to his troubles. They became so sad and cried burning stars. So this way, whenever he saw a falling star in the sky, he'd make a wish and the gods would make them come true.
Bro,
But
I'm
can this
so
be possible,
confused
I
what
asked?
just
And
happened.
he replied,
I've
"Legends
never
are a
heard of that
beautiful
story,
thing to hear,
but
not to believe."
I guess that's what
If the
shooting
legends
stars
so
are.
old, how can we
It's
know if they're
confirmed.
true? Directly at my dad, telling him that the money he was bringing in was no longer enough and that he should start searching for an extra job. She said that she could no longer go out
Why
with
is
her
she
friends
not
because she
working?
was so embarrassed. She couldn't afford to buy new dresses every time they went out like her friends did.
What?
I saw Snowball
She's
looking at me as if
worried
he wanted
about
to
that.
say,
Why
"What
can't
a
she
silly
get a job?"
woman." The fighting and
Come
loud
on.
screaming continued for a long out of the window and headed towards the dark oak tree in the backyard. Everything around me was dark. Behind me walked Snowball. We crept very
no.
quietly
What's
so
about to
no
happen?
one would hear us, and then we arrived at the
Uh-oh.
treehouse. It was pitch black, so I missed a step on the ladder, and then my leg slipped. The last thing I remembered from that day was that after I fell hard on the ground, everything around me
Damn, that's a
went fuzzy.
big
Snowball
tree.
sounded far away,
Like, that's
even
a
though I
big
could see him
thing.
jumping around me. Then I wasn't able to feel anything. After a little while, I felt myself waking up. My head hurt and I
What?
couldn't feel any part of my body. I'd completely lost control over my body parts. Even my eyes, I couldn't open them.
What,
I could
bro?
feel the light around me, but it was too difficult to open my eyes. Oh my, what happened to me? Was I stuck in my sleep? Or was it worse than that? Had I died? I didn't know much about death,
What,
except
bro?
that after death, a person drowns in darkness. But this darkness I felt
Yo,
was
this is
different,
crazy.
completely different. I
Damn,
could
the
feel
facial
my body
expressions.
freezing. Suddenly,
This
I heard
animation's
someone.
insane.
If I was able to hear him, that means I wasn't dead. Thank God. From his tone of voice, I gathered he was a doctor speaking to my parents. He said, "The damage she suffered to her head due to the fall has resulted in severe internal bleeding in her brain, which is preventing enough oxygen from reaching her body, resulting in a coma." But I wasn't in a coma. I
Bro,
was there
no
with
way.
them. I heard my dad crying.
Yeah, I
and
think
my
the
mom
only
inquiring
way
about the treatment fees.
that
I
you
wanted
could
to
prove
scream,
that
to
this
call
is
out for them, to say
100% real is
something,
if she
anything,
recited
but I
word
wasn't
for
able to
word
even
what
talk
she
at the
heard.
time.
If,
Suddenly,
you know,
I was
that's
just
the only way.
touching or connecting
But
with
this
others.
sounds
They do it automatically.
nuts.
But I had absolutely no way of speaking to anyone. For the last 13 years, I had been a normal girl. A girl who loved her dad, her dog, and who loved to play. Suddenly, that had all changed. The doctors didn't know what to do. They thought I was completely in a coma, but they always treated me nicely. All the time I spent in the hospital, I only heard my dad's voice. My mom had completely vanished. I didn't know where she was,
What?
and I didn't hear anything related to her. Until the day the doctor
Damn.
said there is nothing more they can do, and that it is best for me to return to my parents' home. I heard my mom arguing with my dad. She didn't want me back home. I was, according to her, a burden
What,
that
bro?
she didn't want to carry. But I went home anyway. I
Yo,
was
that
happy
is
because I
the
was
worst
returning
mom I've
home.
ever
I
heard
heard
of
my
in
dad
my
telling
life.
my mom that he finished the treehouse
Nah.
because that was the last thing I asked him to do. That's why he insisted
Damn.
on bringing me back home, so I could be near the things I loved. However, things went downhill from there. So the doctors told my parents they could treat me as if I didn't exist. My return home was just a hopeless attempt at keeping my unconscious body comfortable until I died. Machines that were keeping me alive were too expensive.
Mate, yeah, if you're in
Before,
America
I was able to
especially,
escape
like,
my mom screaming and ranting.
you're paying
But today, I was
so
stuck
much
with it
money.
without them even knowing that I could hear them. The whole thing
Excessive
felt like
amounts.
a nightmare. When my dad first got me Snowball,
Mate, you know,
I
I
thought that
can't
he was
even
very
imagine
smart and could
that.
just
Like,
understand me without even having
bro,
to talk
that's
to him.
that's
But my dad
fully
used to laugh and say,
tripping me
"Dogs are
out.
about
Like,
as smart as a 3-year-old.
what?
They can feel when deep down,
Like,
though, I
legit,
knew
you
Snowball
can
was no
hear
ordinary
everything
dog.
that's
He was
happening,
special enough to be able to
but you
read my
can't,
thoughts because we
like,
had
only
parents started
sense
their
you have is
screaming
your
matches.
ears.
I'd
Like,
hear
everything
Snowball
else
sitting
is just,
beside me and
you
barking
can't
at a
even
low
do.
voice. I was sure that Snowball knew I was a
Damn.
prisoner in my body, unlike what everyone else believed. For a while, I used to be entertained by my father when he entered my room at night and started moving my body left and right to help my blood circulate. But that didn't last for long. The last talk he had with me was about how tired he was, both physically and mentally.
Bruh,
So loudly.
this
Then
is
he suddenly
nuts.
said, "I can no longer bear to look at you like this anymore." After that, he stopped talking to me altogether. A year quickly turned into 2, and I felt the person I used to
What?
be disappearing.
2
Not
years?
just her body, but also her memories. My mom said that she'd had enough with my stuff taking up so much room, and that she could put the space to good use.
Why is
My
she
dad
still
wasn't
there?
able to refuse, so he just said
Bro,
that he'd move my
like,
things to the treehouse.
I don't like
It
the
wasn't
mom
long until
at
I was
all.
moved out of my room to another one
This
that
mom
was more
sucks.
practical and way smaller. It had barely enough room for my bed, machines, and for one person to be able to move around in. That was enough for me, according to my mom. What was worse was that this little room was next to the living room. That meant that I could hear everything. I mean, literally down to the tiniest details. 2 years turned to 3, and I was still in the same
No,
place with no
no.
one aware of my existence. It was like I was a ghost. Whenever my mom's friends came to visit, they used to ignore me, as if I was just part of the furniture. I was dead to everyone, just not in the
3
ground.
years.
Only Snowball remained at my side. My mom and
3
her friends'
years, you're
conversations were
telling me.
ridiculous. I once heard my mom talking ill about my dad, and that she had met some rich guy at a coffee shop. Now she was seriously considering leaving me and
Told
my
you.
dad. Feeling totally
This mom
powerless
sucks.
and not being able
Like,
to stand in front of her and
officially,
not being
it's
able to scream,
officially
"You're an
the
ungrateful
worst.
woman. Now you want to leave him because some other guy
Just
has more
person in
money?"
general,
My
you know what I'm
poor
saying?
dad
Like,
didn't
nah.
deserve my mom.
Can't
Or
be
even
doing
me.
that.
I found
It's your
myself
kid.
in utter darkness. She always visited on Sundays. Every
Yeah,
time
like,
she
you don't
came,
go
she talked
insane.
about her
If it's just
classmates,
you
how
inside
Sophie had
your
fallen
own
in love
head,
with Joe,
like,
and how Kit had failed the math test, so the
3
teacher
whole
had
years
punished him by
too,
making him solve
like,
10
you would
equations
go
in front of the whole class.
crazy,
Maisie's
right?
visits,
It's like
though they
being
were
locked
only
in a
my
room by
head,
yourself.
For years, my mom had had enough of me. How long must I endure moving this body left and right without any response? She would yell in my dad's face, and he would answer,
How,
"Until she
like, how
dies."
could you say
Imagine
that?
being in my position.
How could
not
you
being able to
actually
speak to a friend,
say
not
that?
feeling
Like,
loved
how
anymore,
could those
not having
words
any
come out your
ambitions or
mouth in
dreams,
that order?
no hope of being
Bro, I
able
don't
to
get
look
it.
forward. My
She
thoughts were
sucks.
miserable ones. I lived in fear, and if I was being honest, I was waiting for death so I could escape from all of this. I pictured
Imagine
myself dying in
you
some
like you
nursing
wake up
home,
and you just
cold and
know
alone.
all of this.
And so it was different. My mom decided to leave my dad. She accused him of having never been the perfect husband. She was crazy. He was the coolest dad a girl could ever wish for. He tried to persuade her to stay, but it was pointless. She screamed at the top of her voice.
Bro, to be
It would have
honest,
been better if she died that day.
I'll
It's
just
like
be
a
like,
curse
yep,
that won't go
go.
away unless I
Get
leave.
out of there right now.
The sound of the door
Leave.
slamming was the last thing I heard that day. I was incapable, devoid of emotions. For 4 years, my mom used to abuse me mentally and physically. What did I ever do to her to deserve that? A part of me wanted to
Yeah,
cry,
nah, she
and
just
the other
sucks.
part wanted to fight.
She really
I was so
does suck.
full. It was
You're the
like
mom in
I
this
no
video,
longer
I'm sorry,
existed
but
inside the house. My
you
dad was
suck.
really, machines were working normally. The 6-year mark came and went, and then the 7th,
Bro,
and
so
everything
she's
was
like
the same.
20
I used
years
to
old
figure
now.
out that the time
She's
from the nurses
20,
changing shifts
and
every
she's
6
still
hours.
in this
That
coma.
meant that on the 4th, I had no idea what date it was because I'd lost all sense of time. But it happened to be my 20th birthday. He held my hand, and I couldn't believe it when
Nah.
I heard his voice.
That's,
It felt like a dream.
I don't
He
even
told
know
me,
what to
"You
say,
won't be
bro.
alone anymore. I'll be with you forever
She,
from now
like,
on. I can't believe you
I
just
think,
turned
like,
20."
if that ever happened
Emotions
to me,
welled
I'd
up
go
in me, and suddenly
insane.
could
I would
feel the
lose my
familiar
mind.
fluttering of my eyelids. I had to open my eyes. I couldn't stay like this anymore. My dad had his face buried in my shoulder, and he was crying.
She
He
opened
couldn't see
them.
my face or my eyes, but when he turned his head,
She
he
opened
jumped
them.
and ran outside screaming at the top of his voice,
Shh.
"Doctor, I need a
That's-
doctor!" Perhaps
Bro,
emotions
what?
have more power than we realize. My dad's love for me made me open my eyes once again. The doctors ran some tests on me, and none of them could explain what had happened. They only said the damage that her head suffered was apparently able to heal with time. Your daughter is out of her coma. To make sure I was able to hear them, the doctor asked me to blink
7
twice. And I did
years.
it. More than that was the
What?
fact that I was no longer a nobody. Dad was so excited. He didn't even know where to begin. But my movement and reactions were still limited. It would take time. There were seriously times where I almost gave
Bro,
up, but I
wait.
had to hold on to this. My dad promised never to leave me alone, and he
She
kept his
did it.
word. At night,
She
my dad
actually
moved my bed
did
towards
it.
the window. It was the first time I'd seen the sky for the last 7
Damn, like,
years.
what?
At that moment, told me how Snowball ran home barking nonstop. My mom tried to shut him up and to kick him out, but he refused. He bit my dad's pants and kept pushing until my dad came with him outside.
Damn,
But
yeah,
my
the
dad
dog
wouldn't
kinda
give up. I'd be
saved it.
okay about
Came in
sitting
clutch.
waiting for that day. One day, my dad came in all happy.
Oh,
He
so
told
she
me that the
can't use
doctors
her
had
arms
finally
and stuff
agreed to
yet?
let him take me
So,
away. I was
okay, so she
scared.
can only
The
use
outside
her
world must have
eyes.
changed a lot.
That's
I didn't
still
know if I
nuts.
should go, but I needed this. It was time
Yes.
to get back out there.
Get outside.
I remember one moment from that day very vividly. A woman passed by, looked at me, and smiled. I didn't know the reason behind her smile back then, and I'll never know. But that small smile, a small human interaction, made me feel better again. She wanted to continue. Seeing my dad come into my room was always the best moment of my day. However, I wasn't pleased when my dad entered my room with the press who came to listen to my story. Apparently, they decided that my story was worth being told and shared. The press ruined my peace and quiet. My mom even returned just so she could be in the spotlight. She returned after
Bro,
disappearing for so
no,
long,
no,
just for fame.
no.
The press did help a bit though. My dad had them help us look for solutions and treatments that might
Bro,
help
if
me
I ever
get better.
nah.
My mom though, well, she didn't exactly show up because she suddenly remembered the importance of family. She was just there for fame. And Dad wanted me to decide if she could stay or not. Mom's answer was, "My dear daughter, do you want your mommy back in your life?" I blinked nonstop, and this meant I wanted her to go.
Bro,
Because I
yes,
knew she
let's
didn't care if I lived or
go.
died. My dad was a person
go,
who'd taken care of me my
Calvin.
whole life.
Yo,
Of course, he had weak moments
that-
where he
yeah,
wasn't
that
by
woman
my
is
side,
not-
but at least he
not
still
a
loved me
nice
enough
human
and thought of
being
me
at
all the
all.
time. And for me, that was enough. And guess what? My dad
She's
got in
back,
contact with one of the
though.
big
Let's
companies
go.
that made medical devices. They had created a device that gets implanted inside the brain and is connected to a special computer. The device sends electric waves to the computer that then says the words out loud. That
Damn.
company heard about my condition in the media and were happy to help me. The first time
That's
they
kind of
tried this
like
on me was
Stephen
pretty
Hawking's,
funny.
right? That I didn't
Everything
know.
I said made everyone was, what happened to my dog Snowball? My story might be sad. Some of you might believe it, and
What
others
happened to
will
the
say
dog?
that it is just a product of my imagination. But what can't be denied is that there are a lot of people like me in this world who no one knows anything about because they don't have the ability to connect with people.
Is that what everyone in the coma has? Like, can they hear everything? Or is it only specific types? Bro, this is just some trippy video that we have just watched. Well, guys, I hope you all did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure you leave a like. We're on the road to 1 million subs, so make sure you keep subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace out.